Landon, take action! 1, 2, 3, take off!
Hey everybody, welcome to Eagles Game Plan presented by Toyota. I am John Clark, joined by the great Mike Quick and the great Ike Reese. The Eagles have lost 5 of 6. They're coming off a loss at the Vegas Raiders. But hey, they're on the road again facing an 0-7 Lions team. So a lot of Eagles fans are probably saying this is where they get a win. What do you guys say?
I say they're scary. I say the Detroit Lions are a scary ball club because they're winless. That's a team that plays hard. And if you watch the previous games, they pull out all the stops. There's nothing in their playbook that they won't try against you. Dan Campbell, the head coach, he has these guys playing tough, hard-nosed football, and everything in their playbook, it's available.
Well, I'm saying a football team that's fighting and scrapping and giving everything they can to try to get their first victory of the season. You watch this team on film, this is a physical football team with guys like Deuce Staley on the coaching staff. We know him very well. Anthony Lynn, former head coach, and Dan Campbell, we know they're trying to set a tone with how they're playing. And when the Eagles match up against this team, it's the running game they're going to have to pay attention to, particularly Jamal Williams. Watch Jamal Williams here on display. When I talk about establishing an identity, this is what they want to do. Physical football. Jamal Williams takes this handoff, and his shoulders are square to the line of scrimmage. And what that says to me as a linebacker, he's looking to get downhill right now. So you have to be able to match that force with the same force. Our linebackers need to play downhill. Watch the left tackle here, first-round draft pick, Penei Sewell. Nice job moving the line of scrimmage. Tag team block here, and he gets up to the second level to the linebacker, and before you know it, Jamal Williams is 4 or 5 yards on the other side of the line of scrimmage. And the thing I want to point out when tackling a guy like Jamal Williams, arm tackles won't do it. You have to get your body in front of him. He is a physical runner that you're going to have to bring down with force.
And the Eagles will be facing a local favorite from St. Joe's Prep, DeAndre Swift. And it's not just the running game where the Lions get their running backs involved. With more on that, here's Enemy Intel with Greg Cosell.
This week will be a different challenge for the Eagles defense. The last couple of weeks, they played offenses that push the ball down the field, that throw the ball consistently at the intermediate and vertical levels. The Detroit Lions are not that kind of team, and they haven't been successful this year very often when they've tried to. This is a team that works much more effectively in the short areas. One player who's really shown up, particularly in the passing game, is running back DeAndre Swift. And each week they try to find ways to get him the football. And it goes back to the opening game of the season. You saw what they tried to do and they were successful. They used him in multiple ways. Week 1, they used him in the screen game. They took everybody to one side of the field and they set up Swift on a screen to the other side of the formation, and it resulted in a touchdown. That's one way they've gotten DeAndre Swift the ball this year. But there are others as well. Here we're going to see an example where they get him the ball basically just on a check down out in the flat. They dump the ball off to him and he has space. That's the key thing to remember, and that the Eagles have to focus on defensively in defending DeAndre Swift and this Lions passing game. Swift is very, very good, and he's very dangerous when he gets the ball in space with room to run. And then there's one more example that I think is worth showing, and that's on a slide route where he crosses the formation off boot action by Jared Goff. Again, what do you see? Swift getting the ball in space on the move. He's a run after catch threat, and it doesn't seem like a lot when he catches the ball for what looks like a 2 or 3 yard gain, but they become 15, 20 yard gains or more. So as I said, this is a Lions offense that has really struggled to get the ball down the field to their wide receivers. And one thing we know about the Eagles defense through the first 7 games of the season is, for the most part, they do not give up big plays. They do not give up long completions. Those have been few and far between. So the most important thing when you play that way is you must defend the short pass and not allow run after catch. DeAndre Swift is the best player on the Lions offense who can do that. So that's the challenge for the Eagles this week.
All right, we will see if DeAndre Swift gets the lion's share of touches for Detroit. Sorry, I had to throw that in there. Ike Reese, so let me ask you this. The Eagles, obviously, they're good defensively, not giving up the big play, but they gave up a lot of the intermediate stuff out in Vegas. So with the Lions, they like to do a lot of that as well. They're not chucking the ball down the field. So what do you have to watch out for, especially at the linebacker position?
Well, I like the Eagles' chances this week on defense going up against this Lions offense. Not that you don't have to pay attention to the outside guys, but most of your attention is going to be directed towards T.J. Hockenson, the tight end, and those running backs coming out of the backfield. Jared Goff, limited throws to the outside. They want to keep the throws simple for him, so they're going to work the hashes. And what that means is our linebackers, safeties when they're down in the box, even a guy like Avonte Maddox, who's a part of that box playing that nickel slot position, are going to have to rally to the football. When he dumps the ball off to either Swift out of the backfield or Jamal Williams, we're talking about two running backs, you have to corral and bring down. T.J. Hockenson, obviously a big target. You want to get to him and bring him down. But I think if our front seven can do a great job of getting off blocks and get to the football, we should be able to hold this Detroit Lions offense down.
Eagles Game Plan is brought to you by your local Tri-State Toyota dealer, proud automotive partner of the Philadelphia Eagles. NovaCare Rehabilitation, the power of physical therapy. And by Pepsi, your official soft drink of your Philadelphia Eagles.
In week 14, the weather outside grew frightful.
The snow continues to come down, and it has intensified.
You got to battle for every inch out here. Any play can turn it, right?
It is 2nd down and 10. Foles gives it off to McCoy. He's got running room. Steps over a man. He's at the 40. 30. McCoy. He is going all the way. Touchdown, Shady McCoy.
So a cool little flashback there to 2013. Always fun to look back at some of those previous matchups. That one of the best between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Detroit Lions. But let's transition from Eagles from the past to an Eagle that will be part of this team's future, and that's Landon Dickerson. A little rookie report here for Tape Study this week as we take a look at the first-year guard, get a sense of where he's at this point in his development. Just a few starts into his NFL career. Remember, Landon Dickerson did not participate in training camp or the preseason, so when he was first inserted into the lineup here in the regular season after Brandon Brooks' injury, that was his first NFL action period. And so just getting a sense of him getting his feet underneath him, getting more acclimated in the offense, it's been really fun to watch. We'll take a look at some of his best plays over the last few weeks. This is my favorite Landon Dickerson play so far this season. Go back a few weeks to the Dallas Cowboys game down there at AT&T Stadium. You're going to see him looking for work because he's going to chip in to help Jason Kelce here on this defensive tackle. And once he bumps that tackle a couple gaps over, now he's going to go and look for work. And these were some of the best highlights that Landon Dickerson had during his career at Alabama. He did this on a weekly basis in the SEC. Again, helps get this defensive tackle to the ground. What does he do? He gets his eyes back and he looks for more work. Now he's looking for another guy to get down to the turf, helps Lane Johnson dump a defensive end. And so those are things that we saw from Landon Dickerson over the course of his career with the Tide. Awesome to see him carry that over to the field here with the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, let's take a look at Landon Dickerson in the run game, where we know that he's got that ability to move people at the point of attack. And I thought this past week against the Las Vegas Raiders, we got to see that in action early and often in this game. Here's Landon Dickerson, this time at left guard. That's where he spent the last couple of weeks after the injury to Isaac Seumalo. And you're going to get a sense here of his ability to get what's called vertical displacement. He is going to latch on to this nose tackle and move him up to the linebacker level. This is, again, vertical displacement. You're going to get that push up in the run game. This is a one-on-one block because offensive tackle Jordan Mailata is not covered up with a defensive lineman, he is going to leak up to the linebacker level. That's going to leave Landon one-on-one here, and look at the movement he is able to get on his own. He is a large human being. He generates very good power, and when he plays with good technique, you get a lot of examples of exactly that. He was used in a lot of different ways in the run game this past week against the Raiders. He was used out in the move, whether it was the quarterback run game, the screen game, some of the perimeter runs, but when he was able to just get downhill, that's where some of his best blocks came. Now, it's not all perfect with a young player, right? With a rookie, there are still some areas where you're going to need to see him continue to improve. Here he is working in tandem with center Jason Kelce on a defensive tackle, on another nose tackle. Now, this is going to be a combo block, and oftentimes in the zone run game, what you're looking for your offensive lineman to do is what's called surface blocks, because those two guys, they have to work in tandem together. So if they're both going willy-nilly at the same shoulder, at that outside shoulder of the defensive tackle, well, one of these guys is going to fall off. So they've got to make sure that they hit it in unison, and that's why those guys practice it every single day, the same drills, and it's all called surfacing blocks. So I want you to watch here as Jason Kelce and Landon Dickerson attack this nose tackle at the point of attack. And here, you're going to see the ball is snapped. Jason Kelce's going to attack that inside half, and he's got that part covered. Here's Landon Dickerson. He's going to have that outside shoulder, and the whole goal is to try and move that defensive tackle up to the linebacker level. The first step for Landon Dickerson, it's a little bit shallow. He's not gaining enough ground here towards the defensive tackle. So what that results in is that second step is a little bit too wide, and now he's going to lose a little bit of that power. But to get a sense of just how big Landon Dickerson is, watch what happens on this play regardless. Even though the footwork is not perfect, he's still able to create movement there with Jason Kelce. So again, it's not perfect. You're still seeing him grow and get better, but look at the movement that he and Kelce are able to get. This ball ends up being a keeper by Jalen Hurts off the zone read, and he moves upfield. So again, it's not all perfect, but it's going to be a lot of fun to watch him continue to develop down the stretch here in the second half of the 2021 season. Keep an eye on number 69, Landon Dickerson.
Hey, welcome back to Eagles Game Plan presented by Toyota, and we finally saw Dallas Goedert, season high 70 yards as the #1 tight end on National Tight Ends Day. The National Linebackers Day is coming. Don't worry, Ike Reese.
One of these days.
One of these days. But how about that? 70 yards from Dallas Goedert. What did you see as the featured tight end?
I just think that he's an outstanding tight end. He's a do-it-all type of tight end. So with Dallas Goedert, you can trust him to do a lot of things that you can't trust a lot of tight ends to do. He's an outstanding blocker. He's great in runs after the catch. Watch this play where you're going to see Dallas Goedert, and this is the trust that you can have in him. Against a Pro Bowl caliber defensive end, he's going to block him one-on-one. As they engage, watch Dallas Goedert work to his outside shoulder to pin him to the inside. You've got a called quarterback run with the lead guy out in front of him, but it's Dallas Goedert that's going to pin the defensive end, Unique Ngakoue, on the inside so that there's running room to the outside. With Dallas Goedert, he's a guy that can put his hand in the dirt and make sure that he's firm and blocking up front, but he's also a reliable target on the outside with the ability to run after the catch.
All right, Dallas Goedert's dependable. He's caught 18 of his 24 targets, and that brings us to third down. They've had some problems lately, Ike Reese, just 36% on third down over the last 3 games, and he had some penalties as well. How can they start to clean up third downs?
Well, just talk about the penalties. We got to cut out the pre-snap penalties, right? Self-inflicted wounds, they've been talking about this all year. That certainly will help have you in manageable third downs so that it gives the play caller multiple options there, whether you want to run the ball, whether you want to throw the ball deep, whether you want to try to get the ball to Dallas Goedert. But most importantly, we have to be successful on first and second down. And whether that's the quick screen game or running the ball on the early downs, we need to get positive blades of grass. I don't care if it's 1 yard or 2 yards, preferably 4 or 5 yards, but you have to get positive yardage on those first 2 downs to give yourself an opportunity on third down to be in a manageable situation. And then when you get to third down, if it's a third and medium, you got to throw the ball, we have to be able to connect. When the players are available, when the receivers are open, we got to deliver the throws and make the plays when they're available to us.
So it is key to watch third downs for the Eagles in Detroit. And what will Detroit be doing on defense on those third downs? Here's some more enemy intel with Greg Cosell.
Don't be fooled by the Lions' 0-7 record when it comes to their defense. This has been a defense that has been very, very competitive against strong offensive teams. And one thing that stands out when you put on the tape of this defense, they are aggressive. They will attack. They play multiple coverage concepts, including man-to-man, and they will blitz. And where the blitz really shows up is on third down. They will get after you. And I want to show you an example of that from last week against a really, really good offense with the Los Angeles Rams. Now, the first thing I want you to notice on this play is the double mug look. This is something they do a lot of. They do it against everybody, and you will see it on third down. They play a lot of nickel, and the two linebackers, Alex Anzalone and Jalen Reeves-Maybin, they're the A-gap players here. So what that does is it dictates protection. That's why teams do this, because it makes it a six-man defensive front, and you must account for six potential rushers. You don't know who's coming and who's not coming. And in fact, you see the Rams do that with the running back who's literally right up on the line of scrimmage. But what they do here is really nice. Again, it's third and long. They're going to actually run a stunt. Both linebackers will actually blitz, but what do? They widen and expand their pressure to create space for the looper here, Julian Okwara. And Okwara gets in clean and sacks Matthew Stafford. This is the kind of thing that you'll see the Lions do. They are very multiple with their pressure concepts. They bring different people from different places, and they will play multiple coverage concepts behind it. So this is a very intriguing matchup. Again, it's important to remember, the Lions' record doesn't matter here. Their defense has played extremely well and extremely competitively in every game.
All right, yeah, the Lions like to blitz. They like to get after it, one of the top blitzing teams in the NFL. So it's imperative that the Eagles' running backs are ready and help protect Jalen Hurts. But Miles Sanders probably not going to play. He's week to week. So what are you seeing with the running backs in protection especially?
Well, I mean, Miles, I think, was their best pass blocker back there, obviously more experience. These guys have to be on target with Jason Kelce and where he's turning the protection. He's really going to direct you where you need to go. So as a young player, make sure you're in that film room with Jason this week, and then just listen up. You're going to be on the road. That's a dome, so it's going to be pretty loud. They have to make sure that they're in tune with the guys up front.
And we really saw that opening drive against the Raiders. 6 touches for the running backs, and Jalen Hurts was under center some of those times.
Yep.
So are you seeing maybe the offense going in a certain direction now? Because you saw it work there on that first drive.
I just see it maturing some. You know, we didn't see him much under center, but it started the game under center. When you see that type of success, I think coaches want to build on that. So I think going forward, we're going to see a little bit more of that. That first drive was a thing of beauty, and there were more runs in there than there were passes. And going forward, I do believe that we'll see him under center more. We'll see a lot of the things that we saw in that very first drive.
All right, welcome back to Eagles Game Plan presented by Toyota. Ike Reese, get us ready for this game.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. You look at what the Lions do offensively, and we talked about the running backs. We haven't talked nearly enough about T.J. Hockenson. I think he's Jared Goff's favorite target. He's a big target. So our linebackers and our safeties need to be prepared coming down those hash marks to guard this big fella. And they will throw it to him even if you have him covered. He's great at going up, making contested catches. We have to know where number 88 is at all times.
The Lions were able to convert 2 punts, fake punts, into first downs. They also had an onside kick. So there's nothing in their playbook that they're not going to do to try and get a win against this football team. They're a team that hasn't won a game, so anything that they can do to get a win, and you know that there are a lot of proud NFL ex-guys that are coaching that football team. They want to get a win. They're desperate. It's going to be a tough game.
All right, well, thanks for watching Eagles Game Plan presented by Toyota. He's Ike Reese, he's Mike Quick, I'm John Clark. Check out the kickoff show on PhiladelphiaEagles.com. Special time, 12:10. Thanks for watching, everybody. Eagles Game Plan is brought to you by your local Tri-State Toyota dealer, proud automotive partner of the Philadelphia Eagles. NovaCare Rehabilitation, the power of physical therapy. And by Pepsi, your official soft drink of your Philadelphia Eagles.